Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I have a cubing tutorial for you on how to solve your first two layers of your cube in less than 10 seconds every single time. This tutorial will teach you about advanced F2L, it will teach you finger tricks that you need to be using during F2L, and I might even throw in a few big special F2L cases that I love to use a special algorithm for to solve. And by the end of this video, you should be solving your F2L like a pro. Anyways, let's get going. Okay, let's get started. First of all, advanced F2L. What does this mean? There's a little bit of uncertainty about this because people refer to special F2L algorithms as advanced F2L, for instance, an algorithm for this case to solve it. They might call that advanced F2L, but something that JPerm said in one of his videos is that advanced F2L isn't necessarily the algorithm you're using to solve a case, but rather just how you're solving your F2L throughout the entire solve. So for example, taking pieces out of your F2L slots and pairing them up as you do so. For example, we have this super scrambled cube here, and I have this piece and this piece right here. The way we would solve this using basic F2L is we'd first get both of these pieces into the top like this before then figuring out how to solve it. When you use advanced F2L, basically you skip that step and you go right into pairing these pieces up. See, for example, I can see that I have a blue sticker here with a blue sticker on top, which means if I just do an R, U prime, R prime, that will pair my F2L pair up. There's so many different cases that you can learn. It can be quite overwhelming, but don't worry, it's actually surprisingly intuitive. Here's another example where I have an F2L pair here in the front. Well, it's not a pair yet, but we'll get to that. So the first step that we'd take when solving this with basic F2L is to put both of these pieces into the top like so. But when we're using the advanced F2L, we want to pair this up into a pair right away as we put our pieces into the top layer. So the way I would go about doing this is I notice I've got a blue sticker up here and the red sticker is on the front. So to pair this up, I can simply put the blue at the back like this, just do an R, U, R prime, and that will pair up my F2L pair to be inserted into the back. So basically what I'm saying with advanced F2L, guys, is that you need to learn how you can pair up your pieces in as few moves as possible. This is something that I can't really teach because there are just so many overwhelming F2L cases. The best way you can learn these is by sitting down and slowly walking through the F2L yourself. So for instance, looking around the cube, we have this pair, so we'll pair it up and insert it. Now we have this pair. We want to insert this with advanced F2L. So instead of just using basic F2L where we take our pieces out and put them onto the top and then pair them up and then insert them, we're going to figure out how we can pair them up like that to insert them right away. This is advanced F2L. The best way you can learn advanced F2L is by sitting yourself down, slowly walking through your F2L and going, okay, so this case with basic F2L, I would solve it, like this, put it into the top, pair it up, and then insert it. But using advanced F2L, we're going to figure out a way to pair this pair up as we take our pieces into the top layer. So for instance, we can do this one with a U2, putting our edge at the back, sledgehammer, and that'll pair this up here, and then we can just insert it like that. It's a matter of making sure that you know which cases you can solve in as few moves as possible. The more moves you have in your solve, the slower your solve is going to be. So now I'm going to move on to something else known as finger tricks. Yes, it's a hated word. I myself absolutely detested hearing speedcubers talk about this when I was averaging about 15 seconds because I was like, I'm improving without them. Why do I need finger tricks? Well, I hate to say it, but finger tricks were actually what brought my times down from 15 seconds down to 12 seconds. So what are finger tricks? Finger tricks are basically how you turn your cube when you're doing your F2L. So do you see this pair here? We have our orange, white, blue with our piece here. Using basic finger tricks to solve this case would be a regrip like this. R, U, R prime, that's paired it up, and then I'd rotate, move it over, regrip, R, U prime, R prime. That is the basic way to solve this using very bad finger tricks. Almost everybody starts out solving the cube that way. I did too. Don't worry, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just a bad habit that needs to be broken. So using finger tricks basically means your thumbs stay in home grip. What is home grip? Home grip basically is how you start holding your cube. So you can do U moves, R, L, D. The moves that are a little bit tricky are F and B, but F you can do like thumb finger tricks, and B, well, you don't really use B unless you're building a cross. And so basically home grip is where your thumbs rest on the front of your cube. You want to keep them there as much as possible. So when you're solving this pair, by regripping, you're taking a thumb away from home grip. It is possible to solve this without taking your thumbs away from home grip by doing something a little bit like an R this way, using this finger to push, or you could use this finger to pull, like that, and then do an R prime, and that'd pair it up. And then when you rotate, instead of doing this, try just doing an R, because this finger, you don't even need to regrip or change anything, it'll just push it in there naturally. Trust me, I get it, it feels so unnatural, it feels so horrible, but finger tricks ultimately are needed. So I'm going to show you how you will use your finger tricks during your F2L. So let's get started. We're going to start with our green, red, white pair and the pieces up here. So we're actually going to use advanced F2L with finger tricks to solve this. Now I'm going to rotate like this before I get started. And I'm rotating because I know that I need to rotate to solve this into the slot. So I'm going to do a U2 like this, then an R, U, R prime, U prime like that. So I just did a sexy move. Then I'm going to lift this up instead of regripping and then push my pair into the slot like that. Next, I'm going to take a look around the cube and I see these two. So I'm going to pair these up while I'm putting my pieces into the top layer like this. I have orange on the top, blue is facing the back, so I know that I can put my orange corner here, do an L prime, and just like that, I can do a U, L prime, that's paired it up. And did you notice how I did not regrip for that? I just kept my fingers in home row. Next, I'm going to do a U2. I have this F2L pair here. Instead of regripping to insert it, I'm going to instead just do an R prime, U prime, R. Now next, I have this F2L pair here, so I've also got this one down in the slot, but nah. So I'm going to rotate like this to solve it into the back. I'm going to pair this case up by putting my corner on the edge, an R prime, U prime, R, no regrips, U prime, and now this is a little bit difficult. I use a pretty bizarre finger trick here. You could do it like that, but using this to push sometimes doesn't feel very natural for me. So when I'm solving a case like this into the back, sometimes I will do this. I'll do an R prime and then drag the top with my fingers like that to insert it. It may look a little bit awkward, but it is fast. And then finally, we have this F2L case here. So to solve this case, I'm going to use an F2L trick that I showed in one of my videos. I'll leave the link in the description if you want to learn some tricks to a few F2L cases. I'm going to insert the corner like this, no regrips, U prime, and then just pair this up, not with a regrip, but keep my fingers on home row. So how do you break the habit of solving the cube with regrips? Well, once again, the same way that you're practicing your advanced F2L by slowly solving your F2L, that's what you need to do with the regrips. Slowly solve your cube, concentrating on not regripping. Make sure you put those finger tricks into practice. If you want a video on how to finger trick your cube better, I will leave a link to a video in the description. Now, when you are practicing your F2L, making sure you get advanced F2L, making sure you pair up your pieces in as few moves as possible, also practice not regripping around the cube, and I promise you, in several weeks, you will see improvement. It might take you 5 weeks, it might take you 2 weeks, it might take you 2 days. Everyone improves at their own speed and pace. With your solving, you need to make sure that you don't revert to your old bad habits, because that will choke your progress and then you'll probably get demotivated, and yeah, it's just a downhill spiral from there. Okay, so like I teased at the start of the video, I'm going to show you some advanced F2L cases which I actually use like a special trick to solve them. This one we'll look at last. These three all have something in common. Can you see what that thing in common is? If you guessed that it was that the front left slot is unsolved, then you are correct. Now, this is a pretty cool F2L trick that I was shown from JPerm. So basically, to solve your front left slot, if you have your two unsolved pieces, you can actually do an F move, and that'll change edge orientation. Now that is a completely different topic for a completely different video. Comment below if you'd like me to make it. But basically, by doing that, you now have changed your F2L case from this to this, and then you can pair up your F2L case like this, and then solve it back into the slot and do an F prime to finish. So doing that once again, what we have here is an F2L pair, and it's got to go in here. So we're going to do an F like this, making it a different F2L case. We're going to pair up this F2L case, and then we're going to do a U2 to finish. The algorithm for this case goes like F, U prime, R, U prime, R prime, U2, F prime. And when done fast, for this F2L case, the algorithm that I use starts out with an F, same as the last one. We make this F2L case. We're going to do a U2 and put it here, and do an R, U, R prime, which will pair it up, U prime, and then F prime to finish. When done fast, this F2L pair should be easy for you to memorize. Basically, it's paired up, but the edge is flipped. So what we're going to do is an F. Next, we're going to do an inverse sexy move 2 times. 1, 2, and that actually pairs it up. Then you just need to do another U, and then an F prime, and that will solve it. And when done fast, finally, this is an F2L trick that I really love. If you've got an F2L pair which you've paired up, which needs to be inserted into your back right slot, but you need to solve it with the rotation, you can actually solve it using this trick. What is this? I will show you. We are doing, holding it at the back, wide R prime, U prime, R, U, M prime. That will solve your F2L pair into the back with no rotation. It's such a nifty trick that I love to use it in pretty much every solve that I get where I have an F2L pair at the back. And finally, when you've got an F2L pair that needs to go in your back right slot, but it's split like this, you can solve this one like this. Slowing this one down, what we're doing is now I'm using bad finger tricks for this, but using proper finger tricks didn't work for me. And I found that regripping was fine because my fingers actually end back up in home grip. So what I'm doing is I'm regripping like this, holding my thumb on this corner piece, and I'm doing a wide F, R, wide F prime. Now that's a pretty sloppy home grip, but that is better than just trying to use proper finger tricks, failing, and then that'll screw up your solve. So that is it, guys. I really hope that this helps you. Remember, the 3 main things to do are change the way you solve your F2L cases. If you have an F2L case where you have one piece in your slot and one on the top, when you pair it up, make sure you're practicing pairing it up into the top so that it pairs up. And also, when you're doing your slow F2L walkthroughs like so, you need to make sure you're practicing good finger tricks so that your turning will get faster and you will get sub 10 in your F2L, I promise. And the final third thing is don't give up. This can be a very long and tedious task, but stick with it, keep practicing, watch 3x3 walkthrough videos, watch special F2L tutorial tricks, and you will get faster. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!